remember feeling physical pain, like I'm physically bleeding out in my driveway and none of my neighbors even know it.
I'm Dr. Renee McMurray-Gilman. I have been in private practice for 20 years, and I'm a busy chiropractor. So I personally will see about 150 people a week. And I also have a clinic where there are 7 other physicians that are there. So in total, we'll see about 2,300 people a week in that office. I never thought as a business owner that I would be so on the front lines of people hurting, hearing a need, and meeting a need that I didn't know I could meet. One day, this beautiful woman walks in my office. She's coming in for a migraine headache, a terrible migraine headache. I started asking her about when did this come on and how long have you had them and is there anything going on in your life? People just started unveiling their life.
I married my high school sweetheart. We lived our life using the Bible as our guide. We had been through a lot of things together. We struggled with infertility and we had prayed at the altar together to have a child. Around the time that our son was 3, that man who followed after God's own heart and read scripture over his infant son in the hospital kind of went off the rails. And he decided he didn't want to be married anymore. We went to some counseling services, but at one point the counselor said to me, "This is marriage counseling and 2 people are usually in a marriage and you're the only one that's here." Our son at 3.5, I remember him saying, "There should be 3 people at our table." He said, "I want my old life back." And I remember, yeah, so do I. And at that time also, I was getting calls from the bank telling me that our accounts were deficient and they were in the negative. $300 a day in fees for Starbucks coffee or a deli that I didn't even know of. And my child and I were trying to figure out how we were going to get grocery money. I went to my parents and we talked to friends, do you know any divorce attorney? Do you know anybody that knows a divorce attorney? Went to 2 attorneys. And I remember the second one the most because at the second one, I was a little more desperate for some help. And at the second attorney in his big office, he used the word annihilate. You're entitled to this. You've been disrespected. You deserve this. And the more that he spoke, I could feel like this battle within myself of, yeah, but no. I'm still reconciling with the fact this is happening and hoping to reconcile with him.
It escalated and it kept escalating and it got worse. She'd come in maybe the next week or I'd see her in another month. This woman's having migraine headaches. I knew I could care for her headache, but I was listening to her heartache. And I also quickly realized that she was gonna need legal resources.
I've heard of this legal clinic, and when I walked in the doors, I remember that even the walls of the office were speaking love. It was a complete different way to view this. He stepped in and he said, we need to go through those bills. We need to sort out what's going on. We will figure these things out, but we also need to pray and we need to seek resolution. To have an outside person who doesn't need to help me in any way, but they're willing to come in and say, let me carry that for a minute. Somebody here is gonna help carry this for a while.
Over almost 2 years, I was able to watch Amy. She came in with total despair and a complete heartache. She was able to go to an organization that helped meet a need, and she still had a heartache, but she had hope. It was amazing to me. These people didn't ask for money. They just gave their love, they gave their time, they gave their resources. My husband and I were praying, what are we gonna fund? And it was without a doubt resounding, we are gonna get behind Gospel Justice Initiative. And the fact that actually as a business owner, I could take $5,000 and actually influence an entire population of hurting people is amazing.
I believe that the path of my life was changed. And Renee, she could minister to my body, to my spine, to me as a doctor and as a friend. But it doesn't matter how intelligent you are. If you're not a lawyer and you don't know the law, you can't help somebody else figure out legally what they have to do. It really is something that you have to have.
Almost like the Good Samaritan story, here was a person in front of me. She was desperately hurting, beaten on the road, and many people walked by. But God calls us to something more than walking by. You gotta stop. And then when you stop and you see that I could be the guy on the side of the road. When I think of Gospel Justice Initiative, they were like the innkeeper. I had to get this hurting person to the innkeeper, but I knew that the innkeeper would take much better care of her than I could.